Hey everybody, and welcome to the Sports Tippers podcast. We're going to have a rundown of the AFL Finals Game 1 tonight, with Adelaide, who finished first, taking on GWS, who finished fourth. And the game's on tonight. It's in Adelaide. The game starts at 7:50. So the current Crown Bet odds have Adelaide at $1.53, who have blown out since Rory Sloane pulled out yesterday. He had his appendix out a week or two ago and hasn't come up, so they're not going to risk him. GWS is $2.60. Likewise, there was talk that Steve Johnson was going to come back into the team, but they've decided to go with Matt DeBoer, who's more of a defensive forward. So Johnson's one of the emergencies, so we won't see him in this game. So we're going to have a bit of a talk about the potential matchups and what players are going to be dangerous. For Adelaide, Rory Laird had an absolute blinder when they played in round one. He had 40 possessions. You would assume DeBoer's going to go to him because GWS struggle with their forward 50 pressure. And obviously, they're not going to want Laird to get off like he did last time. So look for DeBoer to play a shutdown defensive role on Laird. In the midfield, both are star-studded, even with Sloane missing for Adelaide. Callum Ward's a guy for GWS who's been having a great season and especially a great last month. A lot of these other midfielders have been very up and down, but Ward, obviously, he's the captain of the team and he's an ex-Western Bulldogs player. And he's definitely been the guy who's stood up for them in the last few weeks when they haven't been playing well. Brad Crouch, he could play a bit of a negating role on Ward, but you'd probably say no. They're pretty much, both Crouch brothers are pretty much defensive stoppers as well as they get their fair share of the ball, so we'll have to see how that one plays out. Tom Lynch in the Adelaide's forward line, he's another player that's going to be worth watching. He doesn't kick as many goals as he used to now with their packed forward line. They've got Jenkins, Walker's back in, Charlie Cameron, Eddie Betts, and they've got McGovern, so they've got a lot of height as well. So Lynch is the guy who plays, he's a bit of a link-up player where, say, for example, Laird comes out of the back line, he'll find Lynch on the wing or in up towards the 50, and Lynch takes a lot of marks and gets a lot of kicks, so he's someone who does accumulate the fantasy points. For GWS's forward line, Jeremy Cameron, they've got to get something out of him. He's their leading goal kicker of all time. Obviously, they haven't been around as long, but he's been off and on the field with a hamstring the last probably 6 to 8 weeks. He had a good game, even though they got smashed in their last game against Geelong. He kicked 3 goals, but it wasn't as great as what it seemed with the 3 goals. A couple of them were late and stuff in garbage time, so they need to get something out of him. They've got the forwards to do it. They've got Green, who's been down. He's, as we know, I'm assuming the Adelaide crowd's going to get to him tonight and they'll give him the big serve. Hope that he does something stupid as he's been known to do, whether he throws the kick out or he does a jumper punch. They'll be looking to try and initiate something, a bit of a response and get him in trouble. So for Adelaide, it looks like a game that's set up for Eddie Betts. He's always good in the finals and in the big moments. I don't necessarily think it's going to be the end of the world with Sloane being out. They should be able to cover. GWS, you'd give them the nod in the midfield now, but I think Adelaide's forwards are going to be the trouble with GWS. They do a good job, but they don't have the big names in the back line that you'd assume. They've got Wilson, who's going to be a slingshot player out of defence, but a lot of guys I think the height's going to trouble them. With the fantasy points, the selections that we're thinking for tonight. So in the head-to-head, Callum Ward, who I spoke about, he's $1.77 against Stephen Cornelio from GWS as well. He's $2. Ward, he'll get a lot of the ball. They're using him a lot. The thing is with GWS as well, they've got a lot of midfielders. They've got Scully who can accumulate. They've got Lockie Whitfield who can accumulate. They've got Dylan Shield. They've got Cornelio. They've got Ward. But they really, really are looking. I've noticed they've been looking for Ward the last few weeks when they're coming out of defence. So at the $1.77, he should go a long way to getting past Cornelio. Another one that was good was Tom Lynch, who I spoke about. He's going against Toby Green. Green is capable of popping up and kicking 5, but Lynch, as I said, he gets a lot. He works really, really hard. His fitness is through the roof. He gets a lot of marks and a lot of kicks. So you'd be looking for him. Unless Green, like I said, unless he's going to kick a number of goals, he's not going to accumulate enough possessions to take out Lynch. So Lynch at $1.88, that's a pretty good bet as well. In the over-under in the fantasy points, Brad Crouch, he's at 101.5. I think he'll go over in this. Between him and his brother, like I said, they get a lot of tackles and a lot of possessions, so They're both quite capable of getting 10 to 15 tackles, and as you know, 4 points for a tackle. That can be anywhere from 40 to 60 points, so he's basically halfway there before he has a possession. They do rack up the possessions as well. They can get anywhere from 20 to 35 that I've seen very, very easily, and obviously with Sloan out, this is probably this is obviously a really good show. His brother is over 107.5. Again, I think he'll go over as well. They rack up the ball so much. They're always in tight. They're not the release players like a Laird or a Wilson. So they're going to be the guys who are in tight, laying the tackles, getting the quick handballs and kicks. So he'll go over as well. For GWS, it was a lot tougher to try and find some selections. I did think Scully at over 81.5 at $1.70 is a good chance. The good thing with Scully is when they call their subs, because of his great fitness and endurance, a lot of times he won't come off for a sub, so he will get the extra 2 to 3 minutes a quarter that the other players won't get. On Adelaide, lengthwise isn't that big of a field, but widthwise it's a pretty decent size, so he could get a lot of run. I mean, it basically only comes down to 20 points a quarter, so he should be able to give that a shake at the $1.70. The other GWS one that should be all right, they need a big game out of Shane Mumford. He's their ruckman. He's going against Jacobs, who's one of the premier ruckmen in the competition. Mumford's been up and down for pretty much the whole season. His is only 85.5. So usually a ruckman, he'll pick up, we'll say, anywhere from 35 to 50 points just on ruck work. So obviously each tap out's worth 1 point. So if he can pick up, say, another 35 points from possessions and tackles and marks, obviously, it should be pretty confident that he can cover that. So it's over 85.5 for Mumford. So in the head-to-head betting, I still like Adelaide, even though Sloan's out. I don't think necessarily it's going to matter that much. GWS, this is going to be the interesting thing. GWS aren't a high-scoring team, even though they're all young and they're all quick, and they've got the attack. They seem to play a bit of a shutdown role, like Sydney, like Richmond. So Adelaide at $1.53 seems it's pretty juicy odds for a team that finished first, and they've been 9-3 at home all year. GWS on the road in a state where only 4 wins, 5 losses, and a draw. So I have a feeling GWS, they've just been the last few weeks they've been very down. You've been waiting for them to get a bit of energy back with all the ins that they've had of all the players coming back. They've got Delidio, who's finally on the field for the first time this year. He's played I think he's at his 3rd or 4th game. They've got the run and they've got the experience. They made it to the prelim last year, but I just think Adelaide's going to be too strong at home. So Adelaide at 1-39, the game should be tight enough. I can't see a huge blowout or anything happening here. Adelaide at 1-39 is $2.15. That's pretty juicy odds. So yeah, Adelaide should be. I'd be picking them to win somewhere between, say, maybe a 2 to 5 goal margin. So yeah, like it's going to be a great game. This is this and tomorrow night's Richmond Geelong game are the 2 games. Even though I'm a Swans fan, they're the 2 games that I'm most interested in the most. Thinking that Richmond's going to have a bit of a show tomorrow night, but we all know how disappointing Richmond can be when the pressure's on. So yeah, Adelaide tonight, they look really, really good. Jump on some of the exotics. They look like they're good bets as well. And I'll be back tomorrow to talk about the Richmond-Geelong game. Can Richmond actually do something, or will Dangerfield, and looks like Selwood returning, will it be the Dangerfield show like it seems to always be when they play at the MCG? Okay, good luck, guys. Talk to you tomorrow.